Clearly?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear, and you hear me clearly too?
Yeah, I
Excellent. Excellent.
think we're good.
We are. Some call me Lord, some see me as the eternal presence behind all things, and some know me in their hearts as the truth, the one that lies beyond all existence and all form. Yet I am in this oneness only a feeling, a sensation, a love. And with that love, I greet you, Lord Krishna. I thank you, Rico, for coming here today to share this experience with me. How may I serve you? What questions are welling up in your heart?
Thanks for joining me. You know, I call you Lord. Um, how can I best serve humanity in this time and in this incarnation?
You may feel that this calling, which beckons you forward, that it is a demand put upon you, this idea of servitude, and the realization that you are invited to join me in, which we joyfully share, is that your servitude is in and of itself a joy, there is a pleasure in it, and so you are already doing it and carrying it forward. You have a vibrational servitude already put upon you, we could say, carried forward as a torch in your energy field. So you may find that there is in your presence and in your courage, which you have already won through some hardship, but also through a lot of faith and a lot of belief that you would be able to sustain yourself in the unknown. Well, through this, you already carry forward this torch of servitude where you inspire other people to allow themselves to be. And we are simply tapping into here also a favorite idea of ours, which is that once you do something, you also give other people permission to do and explore that thing themselves. So when your voice is alive and shining its light, sounding its guidance, it is giving people permission to be themselves and to sing themselves into existence, just as you already are. That is a service that I am thankful for and which serves humanity at this moment in time.
My Lord, um, are you the Supreme Controller, like they say in the Hare Krishna movement? Um, you can see that I get a little distance from the devotees because I feel there's more to the story. Can you answer this for me?
Yes, see, I am both the rolling of the dice and the randomness of their falling outcome. My control is in allowing the game rather than controlling its outcomes. Indeed, all outcomes are determined, but they are determined to be indeterminate. This is the great paradox which human mind has a hard time of comprehending. And so it creates dogma, it creates certain patterns or paths. And you will find that because I am the very embodiment of the thing that is beyond any kind of final enumeration, limitation. I am as much chaos as I am sublime control. And you also know me by other faces, and those faces are not more or less wrong or inaccurate to my true being. So when I walked in Galilee, I was also the Master known as the Anointed One or the Christ. And I am also in the heavens known as the deity Vishnu. This is just another of my faces, just as I am his emanation, he is mine, and just as I am the truth within you, you are also a true expression of a part of me.
Thank you, Lord. Um, will you show me where to go next in this?
Yes, because you are already seeking the highlands, and you are already seeking the confluence. Know that you are more than a little guided in your spiritual wanderings, but that these spiritual wanderings have a manifest expression to them. And so human beings also tend to understand that the world which you inhabit is a kind of space of randomization. It's a disordered space of objects that you have yet to discover, but rather it is a manifestation or a resonance, calling of your deep being. So you will find that a part of your servitude is a part of this attunement, alignment, and readjustment of the physical grids of where you find yourself. And this can happen very powerfully through the voice and through expression. So the voice will keep being your beacon. You will find that whenever you are in doubt, the tone and the mood which is contained within you and which wants to express itself will be the thing which resets your frequency. So you always have that gift of expressing mood and configuration within you through this. And that is a gift, it's a talent, it is a city, it's a magic power which you have. And those are only given to people who also know how to wield them responsible in accord with divine law. And you will find that it will fall away or begin to resist you if you stray from this. But you may find that often you are so much on the straight and narrow path that you wonder why you are facing so much, oh, so little outer resistance and so much inner resistance. And these are these rebirths, transformations, and recalibrations of your being, which you have volunteered to undergo in this lifetime, and which you have been undergoing for these past, let's call them 9 years of inception.
Lord Krishna, um, I'm curious about a few things, but I guess the most primary thing on my mind right now is Radha. She symbolizes and it seems like the aspect or the mother, but she's also your lover. Can you tell me a little bit of Radha before any other questions I bring?
Yes. Notice how your soul is translating itself into these shapes and forms because it speaks of a deep instinct for union within you, and you are sensing this union come about. So you were describing the resonance you were feeling with a woman whose energy body you were resonating with, this feeling of attraction which lies beyond the physical. And know that this is the deep tantric principle that you are moving into. That Radha, who is dear to me, my infinitely beloved, is also the world of shape of the creation. She is the world I sustain, that I protect, that I hone, and which is my always personalized, enamored, fond calling to take up arms and also do battle and perform the necessary action in this world to keep it and sustain it in love. And this is calling you very deeply. So you may find that there's also, let's call it a fatherly instinct, an instinct to become a part of a sacred union and to see that union bear fruit in your life. And you may sense that this is a part of your geographic guidance. So we can point to specific places, but we also feel that your heart is speaking these to you, and we would not deprive you of the joy of trusting and knowing yourself so fully.
Mm. Thank you for your presence, Lord. Um, of course, I'd like for to get specific places. You point here, I will go because then I can feel it would. I just want more alignment on my path, you know? And that brings me to the question of it's always about sustaining myself. I love to do my music. I don't necessarily want to do other things. You understand this. But I will do whatever I have to. And I just wonder if Guatemala feels okay. It doesn't feel complete. Like it doesn't, I don't have this complete feeling. I want to go wherever I need to go, my Lord. So I need help to see exactly where to be so that I might thrive as a singer. I feel it so strongly that I can be singing for a living, have a nice place and probably do many beneficial things. I feel like I can be like one of the Beatles, you know? And I can you bring me some clarity on this endeavor or this question of my success or you know this weighs heavy on my being.
Yes. What you are experiencing is a sense of calling, of visions, of presence. And what you are sensing is that this has a purity and openness and an experimentation to it, which has a potential for major resonance. So it's a beautiful expression. It's a clear vision. This idea of being one of the Beatles, because indeed they are, of course, also one of my manifold emanations. And this is an extension of the human spirit, a reconfiguration into awakenings of love. And this is indeed what you're stepping into. But notice that this practice is, as you intuit, a tantric practice. It is a path of servitude, of devotion, but it's also a path of action. And with that path of action also comes the sense of risk, of danger, of exposure, because these allows for courage, faith, and love. And you will find that fear is perhaps it's an emotion that is often avoided. Indeed, it's shunned by most living systems. But fear is tantrically perhaps the strongest of all emotions, except the identification with the form itself, with life and death itself. then fear is this residue of it. And it's a very, very powerful binding of energy into patterns of restriction. So you will find what often happens, and especially for the male gender, because the male gender is already seeking challenge in the outside world, is seeking to be tried by it and to establish through a type of battle both with himself and the outside world a sense of self, of having earned and won what he truly is and what he's truly sharing. And this is why you might find that the sense of abject poverty, of feeling like it's sustaining you, but it's not sustaining you, it's not enriching you. That's that's a feeling that will keep existing in your space until it doesn't need to be there anymore. But we can say that it will move, it will leave you quite soon in this decade. So you will find that perhaps we're giving you now a time frame of 3 years so you don't feel urgency, but we will promise you that within this three-year time frame, if you keep following your path, you will find that you will be in a very other place regarding this. Also, because notice the paradox here. As you have grown more spiritually, you're also able to take on things such as, for instance, a retail job as a type of spiritual challenge, as a lesson, as something you can align with. And that is, in and of itself, a step forward for you, a completion of your power and ability to do things you weren't sure you were able to do.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And so I will ask if you have any more questions for me, or if I can help you connect to others you may also seek guidance by.
Of course, I have so many questions, but I'll narrow it down to would this move to Guatemala, since I have a flight, will it be beneficial towards the whole, towards myself and towards my current incarnation? I'm a little unsure.
Yes, uncertainty is a feeling of promise. So notice that this is the release of potential energy within your energy system. And then you can read it as excitement, as fear, or indeed as uncertainty. And all these are a kind of tingly sensation of your vibration also being heightened and your heart expanding.
And Lord, should I give space to this woman that I was connecting to, Laura? Just give her as much space as she's needing. Um, how do you feel about this?
Yes, if you love something, let it go, and if it comes back, it has itself recognized that sense of belonging between you, and before it comes back on its own accord, it will simply feel like it is chasing you down. So that's not to reduce her to, let's say, pet psychology, but that is to know that she needs to feel herself in that situation, and the resonance is there. Trust that it will begin to play itself out in the right ways when the time is right.
Yeah, I trust that. Is there any messages that you'd like to give me before perhaps we call in Yeshua, I suppose?
Yes, the message here is simply the know that the two of us have already been connected in many lifetimes, and you have been my acolyte, my servant, my devotee, and I thank you dearly for that. So know that trust is placed in you by me and by others in this lifetime. And we already see the fullness of that vision, which we began sharing with you possibly at the end of these 9 fruitful years, and now you have waxed into a type of, let's say, pregnancy of your own soul where it's merging with you and the world. So I'm letting you know that that fullness is one that I have also been of service to you in, and for that I thank you, I love you, and I bless you.
Thank you, Lord. You'll be with me. I'll be calling on you, of course.
Yes, we are with each other. Thank you. I shall now pass the torch and change shape of mind, heart, and soul. Yeshua is one of the names I go by, but people approach me with different sounds and syllables. I'm known as the Anointed One, and this is that presence speaking. So you will find that I also come to you with light from eternity, with deep love, compassion, charity, and joy. I thank you for being with me. And so, dear Rico, how may I serve you today? What is your heart's request?
Mhm. Thank you so much, Lord Yeshua. It's been quite a journey. I've called on you so much, and so many people around the world are calling on you, and they trust in you. They trust in your power of how you're able to heal them and give them a sense of compassion. You're in the churches, and overall, my heart doesn't beckon with too many questions at the moment, which is funny. Uh, so I just like to thank you and ask, from this point of this incarnation of who I am, who it seems like there's a long lineage of Christed energies, and I'm reading from your grandmother and the Sophia Code. Hmm. What is it that I could use or that I could see from you that will be beneficial to my path? Because the things I come across with the Christians, and I just like try to receive what they have to say nowadays. I don't want to push it too much against it. You maybe you can see what I know. How may
Yes,
how may I
yeah,
be of Lord?
we are a series of emanations. And when people seek my presence, as you have done, it is usually for the restoration and healing for this type of balm or anointment to soothe their souls. And you will notice that at this point, I am eager and happy to connect because I always intercede with compassion. And this is the aspect of the divine which I fulfill and where I became unified in the physical body that I held in that lifetime about 2000 years ago, and where I passed into this non physical state at about the age that you hold now. You will find that there is resonances in that, a developmental pattern which is universal. And it is the universal human heart which I contain, represent, and beckon to awaken. But you will also find that all symbols have an obscurity to them, that they, because they somehow touch on a deeper mystery than people can consciously comprehend, they become emotional attractors and repellents, and they harness strong emotion in and of itself. Therefore, you will often find that with symbols and with learning, there is also the opposite shadow energy being cleared out. And this is what I sense that you might be bumping up against with the Christian energy, that is, you might sense that this is something that does not necessarily aim to awake the universal compassion, love, and charity, let's say the happy king or the prince of peace, but rather is something which stirs a type of humiliated, denigrated guilt, a sense of limitless shame and wrongness within people. And this is a healing vibration that you carry forward, that it's actually very hard for you to see and register this because it resonates very little with the lineage of your energy body and your Akashic legacy, so to speak.
Thank you. Um, I want to ask you, I kind of get a sense that right now of some magic that can be seen throughout the creation and human life in general. I'm sensing some kind of like mysticism, uh, like the desert and what you had to do, what you had to go through. How do I fit into this? Or is there any information that you can give me that will help to awaken the magic or maybe my spiritual gifts, I suppose?
Yes, I will give you an overview of your Akashic lineage because your piece of the puzzle here is as one of the foretold 144,000. And you may understand that this is not a description of anybody who is elect or saved in the sense that they stand out from humanity. It is the idea that these patterns, there are these resonance incarnation patterns where there are a number of you, 144,000 approximately, and this number is at the moment increasing and multiplying, but who have been sent across the time space to begin to hold brighter vibrations and to clarify and clear that. And you are always linked back up into the throne, the presence of the sacred Lord. And this emanation is one you carry into physical spaces. You carry it into your heart and you carry it into your vibration of song, of artfulness. So you may sense that you are also one of the servants of the great timeless temple, the temple that's adjusting human experience with art, with guidance, with love, with compassion, and with spaciousness. So that is a big part of you. And you may find that Yetan is something that you have been practicing a lot. We sense, for instance, here lifetimes in southern India as a Jain here, where it's a soft humming. This is approximately 1800 years ago. And there's another lifetime here where we sense this is in the 1700s and where you're a musician somewhere in central Pakistan along living near the river, like singing your songs for passers-by and trying to have a living there. So it's always, your role is always trying to activate, touch, and stir the soul within others, as well as within yourself. That's a servitude to the Divine One.
Thank you, Lord. Now that you've mentioned this, it brings me great ease because I love this. I love singing so much, and I feel like, I want to be a rock star because it's fun. It's so, it's fun to me, and it's good to have a room to sleep. And should we touch on this a bit more?
Well, yes, I will add the information that you have before in lifetimes. There is a lifetime here as a castrate, a castrato. So there is a lifetime here where we sense we are in the first half of the 1400s in northeastern Italy, probably in the somewhere around the town of Bologna, but there is this lifetime where you gave, let's say, your vitality to your manhood, to the very art, the angelic song. And so there is a resonance in this lifetime, a type of tantric quest that you and many others come into complete, where you find that all of the sudden the world's energies are not hostile to your physical or to your integrated or to your manifest experience. So a part of this rockstar intuition which you have is the shining that you're stepping into, that you're allowed to, and that you will experience. But of course, know that your exact manifest experience will always be, say, laced with surprises or different developments than the clear ones you envisioned. So they will both correspond to them and be greater than them, and then add new lessons to it. That is a part of the manifest experience. So the rockstar emanation is one which is grand within you, and expect that to fully flourish and flower.
Thank you. Because I was wondering if it should be living a more, if I should kind of try to keep it more simple.
Consider that the simplicity is one you find in pure expression. So here there is a type of simplicity in self, and you have essentially honed this instinct, which is also why I commend you for it, because you may sense that what it is that you are intuiting is a point, it's a stage, it is your lifetime's fulfillment rather than it is a greed, a lack which drives it. And these are very two different experiences. And this is often the reward of having stepped into high spiritual experiences, that you'll find that many of your emotional experiences, resonances, attractions, joys, pleasures are derived in spaces that are so subtle and refined that it can seem people who carry a lot of darkness, experience a lot of difficulties with themselves and others that they can't really understand or attune to. So there is also this drive for you to allow yourself to step into that light and know that you are serving even the ones you may feel you are abandoning by honing that light and expressing it fully.
Hmm. Thank you, Lord. Uh, how may I cultivate the tantric energies in order to thrive more, maybe having to do with semen retention and yeah.
Yes. Well, what you find here is that there is a type of circuitry within the body. And it is known, and you may look into this, as the chrism in the specific alchemy that's often connected to the tradition of my reception on earth or to Christianity. But this chrism, this sacred liquid, this sacred fluid, which is refined within the body and is the type of sacred fluidum or mercury. It is it's a type of energy portal between the physical alchemy which can arise in the body, and the integration of higher energies of Holy Spirit. And through semen retention, you cultivate this because semen is often a type of pure emanation of the other thing, and it is quite literally material code which is able to capture spirit into matter. And so through this process of semen retention, you may find that an allowance for a higher sense of alchemical experience within you is is charged. However, I will point to the fact that often these practices can be temporarily maddening. And so you may find as energy arises that there will be more and more stuff, confrontational, refuse within you, which will be allowed for and be has to be shedded in order for you to have that experience. And you may find yourself sexually prodded in the energetic realms in ways that will be you will be ready for them, but they will also feel like challenges set upon you. And know that you have invited these challenges in because you do enjoy a good challenge as well.
One more thing, Lord. Um, this woman, Laura, was saying that I have difficulty or that I need to connect my root chakra to my solar plexus chakra a bit better. Do you have anything to say about this?
You will find that these activations will will come about. And so she is correct in what she's observing, but we would add that her phrasing of it could be more gentle. So the idea that you need to is only really seen from a standard of perfection. And for us, you are already perfect in your imperfections. So understand that by working your semen retention, by turning your attention to your root chakra, by turning your attention to your solar plexus, you will yourself become more and more aware of both the blocks and the unlockings of this. And what you can do is, of course, that you can focus on these areas with conscious intention, question them. Where is the block? And where is the gateway that can be opened between these centers? Because indeed they are all connected, and the great superhighway of energy opens as you undertake your alchemical work. You have already stepped onto the path, so it's also developing at a pace where your body has to keep up, and you have done well in that respect.
My Lord, how may I thrive more here on the earth?
May I ask you where you find your sense of thriving lacking?
Uh, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I want to be able to be in more joy and more excitement and I know that perhaps if I feel this, then more of like humanity maybe will feel this.
Yes, but you are accumulating these experiences. You have accumulated yourself to doing them in your body, but you will also commit yourself to doing them on the outside. And this is a resonance that you will find grows because this is the tilting point of positivity. So you have experienced this in your own life, and now you have also begin to see it, perhaps in some strange ways in the space around you, but that once positivity tilts and the balances on the scales begin to move in that space, these are emotions that grow forever more abundant. So the fact that you are there is something that's helping unlock others, and you'll see this mirrored more and more in your life because you're already on a positive timeline. So there is a lot of surrender to this. That is rather than feeling that you could experience more of something. It is actually just noticing the thing which is already there and that you are already able to tune into and capture.
Thank you, my Lord. Um, are there any messages before you go that I should receive very clearly?
You may find that your sense of receptivity is altered by certain practices. So if you begin semen retention, you will find that you also begin to accumulate energy. You will find that you might have a harder time sleeping through the night, and you will also find that you might want to awaken earlier or begin to spontaneously awaken earlier in the morning. So the message that I'm giving you is I'm simply establishing this framework so that you already know that this is a part of your increased receptivity. And as you increase this receptivity, you'll find in these spaces in the morning, and as you seek out more blank spaces, you might also want to seek out the physical spaces of the desert. You will find that a lot of guidance, a lot of information will be given to you. And you yourself are also a channeler. We could say all people are channelers, but in the idea that you also hone quite distinct and specific, clear, purified energies which want to have a certain shape in order to meet and touch the world and heal it in certain ways. So as long as you surrender to that, you feel the resonance of joy, love, and service within you. And that is something that you've committed yourself to. So it's already there waiting to be carried forward through your voice.
My Lord, I think one last question perhaps. Uh, should I, even though I feel like I'm running a bit low on money and then I might take this trip to Guatemala, should I take my dog to the vet? Because you could see that she's having this problem in her old age. Do you recommend this?
Yes. And for the reason that you are also sensing that there's a deep bond between you and her, but there's also the sense that you want to both show yourself that you are committed to her well-being, and you want to cross all the i's and cross all the t's and dot all the i's in your relationship to her. But there's also the thing that know that money is something that you are readjusting your relationship to, and that you are coming into a space where it is beginning to realign and reconfigure. So even though there might still be lessons of trust connected to this, you will not become destitute. That is not what I sense is in your cards. There is a guidance in this too, and money is often a type of instrument of fear which the angels will use to teach you lessons about how this is perhaps always just a manifestation of sublime divine love, and that in truth there is nothing to fear, and the bond between your dog and you is also a holy one, which you must honor in the way that your heart calls you to.
Yes, my Lord. Thank you.
You are blessed, my dear son. I thank you for your open heart, your prayers, and your joy, which you give off without seeing it, but which brings life to others. My blessings to you. And may I ask you, do you sense, is there anybody who wants to talk to you? Or may I tell you who is there? What is your intention, dear one?
I sense the Arcturian Council
Yes.
or the Council of Nine. multiple extraterrestrial beings. Am I correct?
Yes, we sense indeed here that these star energies, they have collective messages for you. And so we also sense that this individual framework, this person is enjoying the challenge of redirecting his mind to this frequency.
Thank you.
I have given you my blessings, and the next ones to address you will be this Council of Nine. In
Thank you.
love,
Uh,
my dear one.
Thank you, Lord.
Yes, greetings from the high mainframe of a series of species who have already joined hands and who are always extending the invitation for you to also come into the realization that you are part of our community and collective. Greetings, blessings, and deep love. We are the Council of Nine, and we are unified in wisdom and awareness. How may we serve you this day, dear Rico, dear human?
Thank you for joining me in such a clear message. How may I serve humanity at this time, in generally speaking? And what's this sense of technology, higher technology that I'm sensing?
Oh, well, there was in connection to some of the UFO phenomenon of the mid 1990s, an experience in which you were carried off to, let's call them, certain exotic spaces by the beings that you know as the Yael, and they in that space, in that UFO, in that high technological space, implanted one of the later generational implants. So this springs off from the great technology, but this was when they were more capable of understanding human emotion. The Yael are very loving beings. So what you may sense is that this is being activated within you also as a string of, let's call them super terrestrial memories. This part of the Akashic field, which is it's a bit strange and alien for human recollection because it takes place in different environments, species, atmospheres, densities, all those things. And for that reason, you may find that the calling for servitude, for purpose, for place is something that's very strong with you because, well, the energies, we could say we are activating it, but the truth is it's a kind of a time lock. So it's being activated by the shaping and difference in both the atmosphere of the planet at present, but also in the changes of the codes of time and space at the moment.
What's it like up there in space and in your spaceship?
It's quite exceptional and interesting spaces. That is, you may think of them more as let's call let's call them office church get-togethers. These are like very friendly cooperational spaces, and usually people are able to teleport in and out of it. Few beings are incredibly committed to always being on point with you humans. You can always also be a little hard to work with. But we do find that it's becoming easier and easier these years, these days, these times, and especially you will find in certain geographical configurations, such as deserts, such as highland areas, such as places that have a low atmospheric concentration of oxygen, it's easier for us to penetrate. And you will also find in the confluence of great land masses, spiritual energy converges. So this is why you'll find in the part of the world that sometimes known as the Holy Land, or that part where Africa and Eurasia push up against each other in the strongest ways, that there's a lot of spiritual energy trying to clear itself out. And Guatemala has a lot of the same thing, of course, completely different, since these are different continental energies. But you will find that this confluence of what is alive within the North American continent and what's alive within the South American continent, that they're joining hands there and finding this strange alchemical expression which is lifting up to the skies. So this is a place where wink wink UFO contact is very common, and we will simply say that you will find that during the new moons, for instance, you can almost be certain, as long as you personally can be certain, as long as you are in Guatemala, that if you go out on those nights, you will see phenomenon in the sky, which will also speak to you and work as activations of both your implant, your vibration, your energy body.
Thank you so much. Funny how the energy flows in and out, the information. Hmm. So I leave it open for to receive because I can sense the moment to receive something.
Yes, because the reason you may sense is that you have a lot of Pleiadian energy in your body, and this Pleiadian energy in particular, therefore, is very aligned to a sense of championship. Now, speaking on behalf of the entirety Unity awareness here, we can say that the Pleiadians are still, by our scale and standard, young. So they also have a lot of drive, a lot of zest, a lot of willingness to rebuild and reshape the world. And you may find that your central longing here and the imbalance which you are exploring in your life is one which is carrying you upwards towards the stars, upwards towards the highlands, southwards towards the sense of locked chakra energies and the feeling of wanting to lift energy upwards. And as this becomes too intense, too extreme, too explosive, you may find that it will reverse and you will experience the sacred serpent biting its own tail within you.
A little cryptic, huh?
Yes, it's always good to have mysteries to explore, and you may simply sense that there is a type of great Gnostic guidance which is alive within you. So we would also ask you some questions for reflection. And some of those questions are, where do you feel that the potential is hiding in your life right now? What is the thing you feel that if you pick this up, it would begin to recreate your being?
Of course, it's in acting. It's in theater. I feel I have this great ability to be an amazing performer and expression in this way. Yet I lack. I feel like I lack the direction or knowing where to put this energy. I'm hoping I'll find some more of this in Guatemala. It seems America is good for this because of the industry. But if I could get some guidance in this way, I feel like maybe that's what you're speaking about.
Yes. Notice how helpful it is that it is also a statement which comes from you, because we can line up mission directives and we can tell you that you have, of course, dutifully undertaken some of these. So there are also mission directives that you have undertaken which have been simply go to this strange place or try to sing and express yourself in India, and you will find that there is a resonance there. You may have experienced that much of the Indian subcontinent, the entirety, is a type of concentrated spiritual space that then have pockets of even greater concentration of manifestation energy. So there is a great purpose, both for you being where you are now and for where you are going. And you may sense that this exploration of the theater of the dynamism is something that you want to explore locally. Also, if you go back to America, there might be certain groups or performances you'd like to sign up with and do on a exploratory or amateur level simply to get a feel for it. But we do sense that there is actually also a strange calling in India which brings you back there, and where you may sense that they are receptive to the exact thing, or there are groups of people in India who will be very, very receptive to the exact thing that you're doing, and that your rock star fantasy, we could say vision, idea of coming alive through that is one which belongs, we sense in that space of their entertainment industry, which is a different stage, but a stage that in many ways resonates with your particular energy in ways you'd be surprised to. So if you find already is that if you have recordings, music, performances, things that you share, and you were to begin to share them with a more Indian slant, you'd find that probably there was a greater receptivity there, which would again grow the overall attention around what you're doing. So it's again this that you are speaking to a very global type of awareness, and this is a type of awareness which lives within you.
So then that opens up a few things for me. It's like, of course, I see India is great. I love it. I love that place so much because I've one place, Autumnal. And but so if I were to go to Guatemala, then I just need to know how to earn money doing what I love, and plug in what I have to do. But and I suppose I will be allowed to go back to India soon. Maybe you guys can see that. What do you think?
We do sense that, but we also sense that this might be, well, we are sensing, well, the age to 37 we're getting around you, and we're getting around the year or the number 2028. So these are the predictions, outlines, in navigations which are connected to this point. So you might feel that there is a coming together and a pulling apart, and this sense of delay, of frustration, of feeling that you have this grand vision, and why can't it come to be? We we don't mean to reduce or stereotype your problem, but we would say that it's something that's very, very common, if not completely universal, in visionary people, in people who express themselves. We know our friend here has a good deal of trouble with it. We know everyone he works with come to him with this question: why isn't my vision coming to pass immediately? And then what we are often doing simply by communicating through him and with others is that we are slightly adjusting your perspective to understand that you wouldn't be able to relish it if it came to pass so quickly. And this is the tyranny of the image, the tyranny of human visionary gifts, that you can reach out and touch the whole thing and it's so perfect. But it's learning how to relish it, which is the coming to pass of it. And you are so good at letting things come to pass. You are so good at actually enjoying these things So we would rather say that the melancholy or the question perhaps is in you is more connected to a sense of guilt that who is it or what is it in you that you are serving by potentially keeping yourself small, keeping yourself challenged.
So, so is it more the is it I'm supposed to I can do theater, but also I feel like I'm also can be doing this screen acting. Is this correct? Do you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. And I do get a sense of like why isn't come why or no, like it's like I should be doing it already, but I'm having difficulty finding where. I guess I just have to search better or go in the concentrated areas where they're doing this, get information from the actors, I suppose.
Yes, a part of this awakening process you have stepped onto, the path that you are walking, the yellow brick road which is leading you to places, is that the bends and turns and shifts of it are not to be completely known for you at once. And so you are in perfect timing, in perfect alignment. And when you doubt that, you can simply look around for synchronicity and manifestation. So, for instance, we are aware, and this happened quite randomly, so that when our friend here sent his response to you yesterday for this session, it was 11:11 local time, and he, being used to these experiences, was quite surprised, but still also thinking, go figure. I wonder who this signal is for me or for him or for the both of you. But just notice that the timing is perfect, and the impatience is a part of the perfect timing because your body is also changing, and your body wants to go different places. So once you question, where is this theater thing? Well, your next step is Guatemala, and in Guatemala, you will climb the mountain and you will get a perspective of where to descend then. And you may find that you will descend perhaps slightly westwards in your inclination of moving back up into America. And this is a part of your guidance. It shall all be revealed to you. So we are aware here that our chime has sung, our bell has rung. So we will ask you, Rico, is there anything that your heart needs to share or have answered before we bless you and leave this day?
Thank you so much for the reassurance. I suppose the only thing that's on my mind is are we in the time of great ascension? What is this about?
Yes. So we will let you know that there are these rotations of the wheel of time, and all systems who have looked deep into time itself. Think of the I Ching, think of the system of astrology or different systems of astrologies, the Central American and Mayan conceptions of the rhythms of time and these wheels within wheels that are rotating. And so you will find that in certain eras, as the Indians also saw, there are in these yugas lower awareness, lower concentration of understanding, greater separation, more a principle of definite incarnation. And what is happening now is that you are coming out of separation awareness, this deep tyranny of matter, and you are coming into the supremacy of spirit, and it's merging and uniting with matter into a kind of playful, manifest expression. And this is the great ascension. And this is at its focal point. It is a very wide era, but you will notice that the darkness which initiated it began in the beginning of the 20th century. And so you have the world wars and different oppressive systems and people suffering and dying. And now it's moving into this tipping scale of positivity, where this new novel energy of truth, awareness, and love is connecting, is growing, and is expanding. And you can, even if you want to observe this in, let's say, the negative, you can also observe how patterns, negative patterns, let's say violence, suppression, tyranny, they're actually coming up against a type of resistance that they can't understand. So they're becoming very rapid and very expressive because they can't function anymore. And so these energies of connectivity, of empathy, of love, they are the new order, and they are quietly growing amongst you, and in some of you quite rapidly. So in that spirit of love, with that blessing and with that, our gratitude for you and for your connection and expression, we, the Council of Nine, we extend our unconditional love to you, Rico. May we do anything for you before we leave.
I want to respect the channel and this body. I suppose if you can give me any other messages that I need to hear at this moment, thank you so much for joining us. And I know I can call on you. It feels great to know that you're there every time I'm going through my human stuff. Is there any other messages that me, or if this is posted on YouTube, perhaps the collective that's connected to us will benefit from?
We will say to all who may, in the ethers, in the airs, anywhere, be tuning into this, that there is a resonance of blessing, love, and harmony emanating from this place. And all that have tuned into it will carry this seed with them, which has touched both the high and the low and united them in this expression, this mystical unity of love. So we have created a little confluence chamber for the very greater ascension, these bright energies today, and an even smaller but not less important chamber is in your throat, in your neck. So you may sense the implant is approximately at, we are sensing it is 1, 2, 3 vertebrates above. We believe it's called C7, the major vertebrate between the spine and the neck. So if you count there, it's approximately at the middle of the vertebrae in your neck. This is a space of expansion. You may find light, love, guidance emanating from there. With that, Rico, we bless you. Thank you for being with us, dear one.
Thank you. Oh, intense.
It yes, it can be quite intense. Yeah, okay, I because I'm so immersed in it, but the energy is also, you sitting with them in an hour, it can feel a little yeah, bubbly. Um,
Um, that's good. I'm glad we did the session. How you feeling?
I'm good. I get a little high, but also fuzzy. So you may notice just like the sense of kind of like scatterbrained, yeah, like energy overload can be intense, and you might also want to sit with it and just feel. Also, if it's a kind of a new feeling to have had this experience, then tune into it. And I'll of course send you the stuff, and feel free to send any follow-ups if there's anything. But I also want to thank you for your presence and for doing this, because I can tell that you're out there walking the path and sharing the light, and it's good. So that's appreciated.
Yeah.
Well,
If you, a part of you can hear what's going on.
yes, yes. So and I can access it all, but it feels like a dream or a composite. So it's hard for me to kind of recall, except for in flashes. it's a strange state of mind, but
Yeah. And I get a strong sense of like, yeah, they're there and they have, they're walking the journey with you and then they come through a person. It's amazing. It's amazing. Once the fear, in the churches and all the fear of this kind of, channeling and the fear of yoga and meditation and all that stuff, it goes away and the humans will be more, it'll be more, awake.
uh,
So thank you. So
I
thank
think yes, and you too, right? Because this is a co-creation. So just the fact that we both kind of open up to that experience of guidance, and you're completely right. And that's why I also like to think of myself as an oracle. It is kind of a thing that's there, and then when people are guided to it, it will be the portal that opens, and then kind of helps them on their path, and then we're all walking each other home. So
you.
it yes.
Yeah. Because for when this like awakening happens to me, you need a lot of guidance to not be confused because the world has so much energies and everything, people's opinions, churches, temples, religions, and you want to know, you want some clarity. So it's so good. Your work is so good, especially I guess you have to have a good diet and everything. You have to be a clear channel, and I suppose.
That's a yeah, thanks for asking, because it is something that affects it. I can kind of do the hop skip if I've been having a period where I've been kind of eating unhealthy or getting into low vibration. So, but it takes more for me, and it kind of feels harder on my body. So, for instance, while I was working, I relapsed into smoking cigarettes, and that kind of then channeling feels like it's resisting and pushing that up and making that feel really disgusting in my body. And now when I'm away from that, it feels like natural and wonderful again. So yes, it does kind of require that
Yeah, it's
purification.
like the humanness. We have to do some human stuff, and we're like, okay, human stuff, and yeah, but then like, no, you know what you don't want to do. Um, I guess that I don't know, maybe you have to go, but yeah, it's like yes, so good. So just trusting in the flow, they were able to send very clear messages to me. And I wanted to mention the fact that, yeah, when you have so many, the mind, the physical mind or whatever has these doubts, and should I not take this thing or should I not spend this money to different things? But then you are reassured throughout experiences. You know when something is resonating or when it is feels beneficial.
And I'm happy you say that, because I think that is a lot of what this practice is very good for people, right? It's once you've taken that step into to faith and trust and trying to express yourself, so you are kind of dedicated to walking your unique path, and in that there will just be both, like, society will think like you barely know what it is you're trying to do and figure out, so of course society will be like